Dark clouds covered the sky like a heavy blanket. The rain was loud, angry, and endless. Inside Flight 508, passengers sat quietly, unaware that their lives were about to change forever. Julian was sitting next to her mother. She was a young girl with calm eyes and a gentle face. She did not like flying, but she trusted her mother. It was Christmas time, and they were traveling to see family. Outside the window, the sky looked beautiful but dangerous. Suddenly, the plane started to shake. At first it was light. Some passengers laughed nervously. The seatbelt sign turned on. A calm voice came from the pilot, telling everyone not to worry. He said it was just bad weather. But the shaking did not stop. It became worse. The plane moved up and down. Bags fell from overhead boxes. A baby started crying. People looked at each other with fear in their eyes. Julian held her mother's hand tightly. Thunder roared outside. Lightning flashed so bright that it lit the whole cabin for 1 second. In that moment, Julian saw fear on her mother's face for the first time. The plane suddenly dropped. Screams filled the air. A man shouted for help. A woman prayed loudly. The flight attendants tried to stay calm, but their faces were pale. The sound of rain hitting the plane was like stones crashing from the sky. Then came a loud boom. The plane shook violently. Lights went out. Everything went dark. For a moment, there was only silence. Then chaos. People screamed louder than before. Oxygen masks fell from above. The smell of smoke filled the cabin. Julian could hear metal tearing like the plane was breaking apart. Her heart was beating fast. She tried to breathe, but fear filled her chest. Her mother pulled her close and shouted something, but the sound was lost in the noise. Another explosion. The plane was no longer flying smoothly. It was falling. Julian felt her body lift from the seat for a second, then slam back down. Her ears rang. Her head felt light. The world around her felt unreal, like a nightmare she could not wake up from. Outside, the storm was wild. Wind screamed around the plane. Lightning struck again. Then, without warning, the plane broke apart. Metal screamed. People were thrown into the air. Julian felt a strong pull, like something was taking her away. Her hands lost grip. Her mother disappeared from her sight. She wanted to scream, but no sound came out. Suddenly, she was no longer inside the plane. She was falling. The cold air hit her face like ice. The sound of the storm surrounded her. The sky was dark above, endless below. Pieces of the plane were falling too, spinning like broken birds. Julian was still tied to her seat. Her mind could not understand what was happening. She thought, this is not real. The wind pushed her body. Her hair flew wildly. Rain hit her face hard. She closed her eyes, waiting for the end, but the fall did not stop. Seconds felt like hours. Below her, she saw darkness, deep, thick, endless green, a jungle, then everything went black. Hours later, far away from the crash site, a phone rang. A man picked it up. His voice was tired. On the other side, someone spoke quickly, nervously. "A plane is missing," the voice said. "Flight 508. It disappeared during the storm." The man sat up straight. "How many people?" he asked. "More than 90, came the reply. Silence filled the room. Rescue teams were alerted, radios buzzed. Maps were opened, helicopters were prepared. Everyone knew the truth, even if no one said it out loud. No one survives a fall from the sky. The jungle below was dangerous. Thick trees, wild animals, rivers, no roads, no help. Hope was thin, very thin. But somewhere deep inside that jungle, under broken trees and heavy rain, a young girl lay still, tied to a plane seat. Alone, hurt, but alive. The world did not know it yet. The miracle had already begun. Julian did not know where she was. Everything felt heavy and silent. Her body would not move. Rain touched her face, slow and gentle now, not angry like before. She slowly opened her eyes. Above her was not a plane. It was the sky. Tall trees stood around her like dark guards. Broken branches were everywhere. Leaves covered the ground. The smell of wet earth filled the air. She was lying in a seat, still tied. Her mind tried to understand what her eyes were seeing, but nothing made sense. The plane was gone. Her mother was gone. The screaming, the explosions, the falling, it all felt like a dream, but the pain was real. Her arm burned with sharp pain. Her body felt weak and heavy. She tried to move her fingers. They moved. Slowly, but they moved. Was alive? That thought scared her more than death. "How?" she whispered, but no one answered. The jungle was quiet, too quiet. Only the sound of dripping water and distant insects could be heard. Somewhere far away, a bird cried. Julian tried to sit up. Pain rushed through her body like fire. She cried out softly and fell back. Her heart started beating fast again. She closed her eyes and took slow breaths, just like her parents had taught her. Stay calm. Think clearly. She looked around carefully. Pieces of the plane were scattered in the distance. Small pieces, nothing big, no bodies, no voices, just silence. Fear slowly entered her heart. She was alone, very alone. The storm had passed, but the jungle was still dangerous. Tall trees blocked the sun. Everything was green and thick. She could not see far, she could not tell where she was. Julian remembered her father's words from long ago. If you are lost, do not panic. Nature can help you if you respect it. Those words gave her strength. She noticed something important. Her seat was caught between trees. The trees had broken her fall. The seat, the wind, and the thick jungle had slowed her speed. Instead of hitting the ground hard, she had landed softly, as soft as a fall from the sky could be. It was impossible, but it had happened. Julian carefully unfastened the seatbelt. Her hands shook. When she stood up, her legs felt weak, but they held her weight. She looked at her arm. It was badly injured, swollen, painful, but not broken completely. She was lucky, or maybe something was watching over her. She took a step forward. The ground was wet and slippery. She almost fell but caught herself. Every movement hurt, but staying still was not an option. Night would come again, and night in the jungle was not safe. She listened carefully. Insects buzzed loudly. Leaves moved in the wind. Somewhere close, something heavy moved through the bushes. Her breath stopped. She stayed still. The sound passed. Her heart slowly calmed. She did not know what animals lived here, but she knew one thing: she was not at the top of the food chain. She had to move. Slowly, carefully, she walked forward. She followed the slope of the land, hoping it would lead somewhere safer. Then she heard it. Water. A soft, flowing sound. Hope entered her heart for the first time. She moved toward the sound and soon saw a small stream. Clear water moved over rocks, shining in the light. She knelt down and drank carefully. The cold water refreshed her body. Her mind felt clearer. Strength slowly returned. She remembered another lesson. Water leads to life. Follow water and you may find people. Julian looked down the stream. It disappeared into the jungle. She took a deep breath. This was her path. Before leaving, she looked back one last time. Up at the sky, the same sky that had taken everything from her, and yet had given her life. She whispered softly, "I will survive." The jungle answered with silence, but the journey had only begun. Far away, rescue teams searched the skies and forests. Radios called her name. Helicopters flew above the trees, but the jungle was too thick, and Julian was too small. For now the jungle felt alive. Not friendly, not kind. Alive in a way that watched her. Julian walked slowly beside the stream. Each step hurt. Her injured arm hung close to her body. Every movement sent pain through her shoulder, but she did not stop. Stopping meant waiting. Waiting meant fear. Tall trees blocked the sky. Sunlight came in broken lines like thin hope. The air was warm and heavy. Insects buzzed around her face. She tried to wave them away, but they always came back. She was tired, very tired. Her stomach was empty. Her lips were dry. Her clothes were wet and dirty. She felt small inside this endless green world. Still, she kept walking. Her parents' voices lived in her mind. Her father had worked in jungles before. He had taught her many things. "Do not fight the jungle," he once said. "Understand it." She remembered that now. She stayed close to the water. She did not walk into thick plants. She watched the ground carefully for snakes. She moved slowly, carefully, like the jungle itself. Hours passed. Sounds changed as the day moved on. Birds became quiet. Insects grew louder. The light began to fade. Night was coming. Fear returned. Night in the jungle meant darkness. Darkness meant danger. Julian looked around for a safe place. She saw broken trees and thick roots. Nothing looked safe. Nothing felt right. She found a fallen tree near the stream. It was not perfect, but it was something. She sat down slowly, her body shaking from pain and fear. She hugged her knees. For the first time since the crash, she allowed herself to think about her mother. Tears filled her eyes. She remembered her mother's smile, her warm voice, the way she held her hand on the plane. "She is somewhere," Julian whispered. "She must be." But deep inside, she felt the truth. The sky had not been kind to everyone. She wiped her tears quickly. Crying used energy. Energy was precious. The jungle grew darker. Shadows moved. Sounds came from everywhere. Something jumped in the bushes nearby. Julian froze. Her heart pounded so loudly she thought the jungle could hear it. She stayed still. Nothing came closer. Minutes passed. She breathed again. Night fully arrived. The darkness was thick. She could barely see her own hands. The sounds were louder now, buzzing, crawling, calling. Every sound felt close, too close. She did not sleep. She only waited. She sat with her back against the tree, eyes open, body tense. Her arm hurt badly now. It felt hot, swollen. She knew infection was dangerous. She needed help. Morning finally came. Soft light touched the jungle. The sounds changed again. Birds returned. The fear eased a little. Julian stood up slowly. Her legs felt weak, but they worked. She looked at her arm again. It was worse, red, painful. She remembered something important. Moving water can clean wounds. She walked into the stream carefully and gently washed her arm. The cold water made her breathe sharply, but she did not stop. It was painful, but it helped. She felt proud of herself. Small victories mattered. She drank water again and continued walking. As she walked, she noticed something strange. The jungle was changing. The ground became softer. The stream grew wider. The path felt more open. Then she saw it, something shiny, metal. Her heart stopped. She moved closer. It was part of the plane. Broken, twisted, silent. More pieces appeared around her. Seats, bags, torn fabric. Her hands shook. She searched with her eyes. She did not want to find anything. But she did. A shoe, a familiar shoe, her mother's shoe. Julian fell to her knees. The jungle did not move. The jungle did not care. Her world became very quiet. She did not scream. She did not cry loudly. She only sat there, breathing slowly, holding the truth inside her chest. After a long time, she stood up. Her face was different now. The child was gone. Something stronger stood in her place. "I will live," she said softly, "for both of us." She turned away from the crash site. She followed the water again. The jungle stretched ahead, long and unknown. But Julian walked forward, because now survival was not just hope. It was a promise the jungle did not change. But Julian did. She walked with pain in her body and silence in her heart. The stream stayed beside her, moving slowly, calmly, as if it did not know fear. She followed it like a guide, like a thin line of hope in a green maze. Each step was harder than the last. Her injured arm throbbed with pain. It felt heavy, like it did not belong to her anymore. Her legs were weak. Her stomach hurt from hunger, but she did not stop. Stopping was not an option. She remembered something her father once told her. "If you are lost for days, do not rush. Slow steps save energy. Fast steps kill hope." She walked slowly. She watched the ground. She listened. The jungle tested her again and again. Ants crawled over her feet. Sharp plants cut her skin. The sun burned when it came out, and the shade felt cold when it left. Her clothes stayed wet. Her skin itched. Time felt strange. Minutes felt like hours. Hours felt endless. Sometimes she talked to herself just to hear a human voice. "Just a little more," she whispered. "Keep walking." The stream became wider. The sound of water grew stronger. That gave her hope. Bigger water meant bigger chances, but danger followed hope closely. She slipped on wet ground and fell hard. Pain shot through her arm. She cried out and lay still, breathing fast. Tears rolled down her face, not from fear but from tiredness. She wanted to sleep. Sleep felt warm. Sleep felt easy. Her eyes closed. For a moment the jungle disappeared. She saw her mother again, smiling, calling her name. "Julian," the voice said softly. Julian opened her eyes quickly. "No," she whispered, "not now." She forced herself to sit up. She knew the truth. Sleeping too long could mean never waking up. She stood again, slow and shaking, and continued walking. The jungle grew quieter as the day passed. The light changed. Shadows stretched long and thin. Night was coming again. Fear returned, stronger than before. She looked for shelter. Trees, roots, rocks, nothing felt safe. Finally, she found a small raised area near the stream. Not perfect, but dry. She sat down carefully. Her body hurt everywhere. She had not eaten since before the crash. Hunger twisted inside her like a sharp knife. She looked around for fruit or plants, but she did not trust what she did not know. Better hungry than poisoned. She drank water instead. As darkness fell, the jungle woke up. Sounds surrounded her. Buzzing, crawling, moving. Something splashed in the water nearby. Her heart jumped. She held her breath. The sound passed. She did not sleep that night. She stayed awake, eyes open, listening. Every sound felt close. Every shadow felt alive. Her arm burned badly now. The skin was red and swollen. She knew this was dangerous. Infection could kill her faster than hunger. Morning came slowly. Light returned. With it, a small bit of strength. Julian stood again. Her body screamed for rest, but her mind pushed forward. She followed the stream once more. Then she noticed something new. Footprints, small, human. Her heart raced. She knelt down to look closer. They were not fresh, but they were real. People had been here. Hope filled her chest like warm fire. She followed the footprints where she could see them. Sometimes they disappeared, but she stayed near the water. Hours later, she heard something different. Not wind, not animals. Voices, very faint. She stopped walking. She listened carefully. Yes, voices, human voices. Her legs felt weak, her vision blurred. Tears filled her eyes. She tried to shout, but her voice was dry and weak. Only air came out. She swallowed and tried again. "Hello," the sound was small, too small. The voices faded. Fear hit her hard. "No," she whispered, "please." She gathered all her strength. She stepped forward. The jungle did not answer. But the path ahead felt closer now. She did not know it yet, but she was closer to life than ever before. Julian did not know how long she had been walking. Time had lost its meaning. The jungle felt endless, like a green world with no exit. Her steps were slow now, very slow. Her body was no longer strong. Pain lived in every part of her. Her injured arm was worse. Hot, red, swollen, fever burned inside her body. Her head felt heavy. Her thoughts were not clear anymore. Sometimes the ground seemed to move. Sometimes the trees looked like people. She stopped walking. Her legs could not carry her anymore. Julian sat near the stream and placed her feet in the water. The cold touched her skin, but the fire inside her did not stop. She drank water again, but it did not help much. Her vision blurred. She blinked many times. The jungle was changing, or maybe her mind was. She heard a voice, soft, familiar. Julian, her heart jumped. She looked around quickly. No one was there, but the voice came again, this time closer. She saw her mother standing between the trees, clean, smiling, just like before the flight. "Come," the voice said gently, "you can rest now." Julian stood up slowly. Her feet moved without thinking. One step, then another. Something inside her screamed, "This is not real." She stopped. Her mother's face changed. The smile faded. The figure slowly disappeared into the trees. Julian fell to her knees. She understood. The fever was playing tricks on her mind. She pressed her hand against the ground. "Stay awake," she whispered. "Stay here." She forced herself to crawl closer to the water and dipped her arm into the stream. The pain was sharp, but it pulled her back to reality. She stayed there for a long time, breathing, thinking, fighting. Night came again. This night was worse. The fever grew stronger. Her body shook. Her teeth chattered. Her thoughts broke into pieces. Sounds became loud and strange. Shadows moved where nothing existed. She wrapped her arms around herself. "I must not sleep," she said softly, but her eyes closed again and again. This time the jungle became silent, too silent. She saw strange things, a plane flying low above the trees, people calling her name, lights moving in the sky. She reached out her hand, but everything faded. Suddenly she felt something touch her foot. Cold. Smooth, she opened her eyes wide. A snake slid past her leg and disappeared into the water. Her heart stopped, then it started again, faster than before. Fear shocked her awake. She stood up quickly, ignoring the pain. Fear gave her strength. She walked again, slow, unsteady, but moving. The stream became wider now. The water moved faster. That gave her hope. Bigger water meant people were closer. Her feet cut on rocks. Blood mixed with water. She did not stop. She had gone too far to stop now. Then she saw something different. Not trees, not water, a wooden shape. She moved closer. It was a small hut. Empty, old, but human. Julian cried, not loudly, not softly, just enough to breathe again. She entered the hut and sat on the ground. Her body collapsed. She could not move anymore. Her fever was too strong. She lay down. "This is it," she whispered. "I tried." Outside, the jungle moved as always. Inside, Julian drifted between sleep and waking, between hope and darkness. She did not know if she would see another morning. But far away, on the same river, men were traveling in a small boat. They did not know it yet, but they were very close. The jungle was quiet that morning. The river moved slowly, carrying leaves, broken branches, and silence. Sunlight touched the water, soft and gentle, like it did not know pain. Julian lay inside the small hut. She did not move. Her breathing was weak. Her skin was hot with fever. Her injured arm looked worse than before. Infection had spread. Her body had reached its limit. She was still alive, but only just. Her eyes opened for a moment. The world looked strange. The hut felt smaller. The light felt brighter. Sounds felt far away, like they came from another place. Then she heard something, a sound she had not heard for many days. Voices, real voices, not inside her head, outside. Men were talking near the river. Their voices were deep and calm. They spoke in a language she could not understand, but it did not matter. Human voices were enough. Julian tried to move. Her body did not listen. She tried to speak. No sound came out. Fear filled her again, not fear of death, but fear of being so close to life and losing it. She gathered everything she had left, all the strength, all the will. She reached for something near her hand. A small piece of metal. Fingers closed around it. She hit it against the wooden floor. Once, twice, the sound was weak. Outside, the voices continued. She hit again, harder this time. The sound echoed softly. One of the men stopped talking. "What was that?" he said. They listened. Silence. Julian's hand fell. Her vision faded. She tried one last time. She hit the metal again. This time, the sound reached them. "There," another man said. "I heard it." Footsteps moved closer. Julian's heart raced. Light entered the hut as the door opened. A man stood there. He froze. Inside the hut on the floor lay a young girl, dirty, thin, injured, alive. For a moment he could not speak. "Dios," he whispered. More men came inside. They looked at her in shock. No one expected this. No one believed this was possible. "She's alive," one of them said softly. They gently lifted her. Julian opened her eyes again. She saw faces, human faces. She tried to smile, but she had no strength. "Plane," she whispered. The men looked at each other. "A plane?" one asked. She nodded slowly. "Crash," she said. Many days, they understood enough. Carefully, they carried her to the boat. The river rocked gently as they placed her inside. Cool air touched her face. She felt safe for the first time since the fall. As the boat moved forward, Julian closed her eyes. This time, sleep did not feel dangerous. It felt warm. It felt kind. Hours later, she reached a small village. Doctors came quickly. They cleaned her wounds. They treated the infection. People gathered around her, whispering in disbelief. News spread fast. A girl was found alive in the jungle, a girl who fell from the sky. Far away, rescue teams stopped their search. They believed there were no survivors. Then the radio crackled. "We found her," a voice said. "A girl alive." Silence followed, then shock, then tears. Julian survived 11 days alone in the jungle. Doctors called it impossible. The world called it a miracle, but Julian knew the truth. It was not magic. It was walking when she wanted to stop. It was staying awake when she wanted to sleep. It was choosing life again and again. As she rested in the hospital bed, sunlight coming through the window, she opened her eyes. She was alive, and the sky had not won. The room was quiet. Too quiet. Julian lay on a white hospital bed. Clean sheets, soft light, a steady sound from machines beside her. The jungle felt far away now, like another life. Doctors stood near her bed. They spoke in low voices. They looked at her arm, her wounds, her thin body. Some shook their heads slowly. "She should not be alive," one doctor said. Another replied, "But she is." News spread faster than the river that saved her. A girl had fallen from the sky. A girl had survived the jungle. A girl had lived when no one believed she could. Reporters came. Cameras waited outside. Questions filled the air. How did she survive the fall? How did she live alone for so many days? Is this a miracle? Julian listened quietly. She did not feel like a miracle. She felt tired, very tired. Experts began to explain what happened. They said the seat saved her life. They said the wind slowed her fall. They said the trees broke her speed. Each small thing worked together. Not one miracle, many small chances, but the doctors also said something else. She had knowledge, one said. She stayed calm, another said. She never gave up. That part mattered the most. Julian slowly became stronger. She learned to walk again, her fever left, her wounds healed little by little, but inside her something had changed forever. At night she dreamed of the jungle. The sounds, the shadows, the silence. Sometimes she woke up afraid. Sometimes she woke up thankful. People called her brave. People called her strong. But Julian remembered the truth. She remembered the fear. She remembered the pain. She remembered the moments when she almost stopped. She knew she survived not because she was fearless, but because she was afraid and kept going anyway. One day she asked to see the sky. The nurses helped her to the window. Outside, clouds moved slowly. The same sky that once broke apart around her now looked calm and harmless. She did not hate it. She did not fear it. She respected it. The world continued to talk about her story. Newspapers printed her face. Radios spoke her name. Her survival gave hope to many people who had lost it, but Julian did not want fame. She wanted meaning. She wanted to understand life, nature, and survival. She wanted to learn why some people survive when others do not. She decided something important. Her future would be about knowledge, about understanding the world, about helping others survive it. As she left the hospital weeks later, she walked slowly but with purpose. The sun touched her face. Fresh air filled her lungs. She was not just a survivor. She was a listener now to life, to nature, to silence. And somewhere deep inside her, the jungle would always remain, not as a place of fear, but as the place where she learned the true value of life. Years passed. The world moved on, but the story did not fade. Julian was no longer a weak girl in a hospital bed. She had grown older, stronger, quieter. The pain from the jungle healed, but the memory stayed with her, not as fear, as a lesson. She returned to normal life, but nothing felt normal anymore. Loud sounds still made her stop. Storm clouds still made her look up. Airplanes still reminded her of the night everything changed. Yet she did not run from those memories, she faced them. Julian chose a path few expected. She studied nature. She studied animals. She studied life. People asked her why. She always gave the same simple answer. Nature saved me, she said. I wanted to understand it. She became a scientist, a quiet one, a focused one. She worked in forests and jungles, places that once scared her. She walked under tall trees again. She listened to the sounds. But now she was not lost. Now she belonged. Sometimes people recognized her. They whispered, "That's her, the girl from the sky." Julian never smiled at that name. She did not feel like she fell. She felt like she walked through fire and came out alive. She spoke about her story only when it mattered, when people needed hope. When someone felt small against the world, she told them the truth. There was no magic, she said. There was pain, there was fear, and there was a choice every day to keep going. She said survival was not about being strong, it was about not giving up when strength feels gone. One evening many years later, Julian stood near a river. The water moved calmly, just like the stream that once guided her through the jungle. The sky above was wide and peaceful. She looked up. The same sky, it had taken her family. It had taken her childhood, but it had also given her something else, a second life. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. I survived, she whispered, and I lived. The wind moved softly through the trees like a quiet answer. Her story traveled across the world. It inspired books, films, and countless hearts. But the true story was not about falling from the sky. It was about rising after the fall. Julian was not remembered because she survived a crash. She was remembered because she chose life, again and again, when everything told her to stop. And that is why the world still calls her the girl who fell from the sky, and the woman who rose from it.